Right, guys. Um, I was just thinking about being, the talk about winter now, and well, I watched another episode of some people newly arrived in Bulgaria. Well, it gets worse. Less said, the better. I'm not gonna do any hit pieces. I can only give my take on the situation. So that brings to a question: could you retire in Bulgaria on a pension? And the answer is absolutely, absolutely. And if you planned ahead, it's like what I'm kind of sort of doing at the moment. Um, my pension's due in I think it's 3 years, 4 years, three. It'll be 3 years in February. 67. I mean, if we get there, you might not even get there. So, how could you retire in Bulgaria on a pension? And actually, the British pension is now 12,000, and it is you can draw it in Bulgaria. It's one of the countries, and you do get the increase as it stands at the moment. The increase every year, the triple lock. Well, that all may change. I don't know. So I was looking for some things that I could compare, and I'm looking at pensioners in the UK and the cost of living crisis and how they're managing. And a lot of pensioners in the UK are living in houses or living spaces which are not, from the get go, they're not practical. A lot of them are still living in houses two up, two down, or whatever. Three up, two down, whatever. And the way houses are set out in the UK is they have a great big stairs and landing area. Now you can cut that out straight away, and I would advise this to anyone who's thinking about retiring abroad, and a lot of people will anyway. Is look for a property on one level. And even though I'm not like to that stage yet, I find it better anyway, living on one level. Absolutely. I never go upstairs, really, except, well, I do, but not to any of the rooms. I've got the toilets upstairs at the moment, which is going to be addressed this year, 2026. I'm going to put a downstairs toilet and shower. So that's all on one level. So so the next questions are: how big would you need it, and how many people? And you can live quite comfortably, I would say, on 10 meters by 10 meters easily. And the less rooms, the better. I would think anyway. And another thing you can do in Bulgaria is get on the wood burner, so you know what you're paying year to year. And even if you're a pensioner, you should be able to, just light a fire. I think most pensioners could do that, as long as the wood's all, cut to size, and you could even get people to come light the fire for you. You can always get home help here. You might have to pay someone, but it'd be worth it. And a lot of the people up and down the street go into each other, the old people, and I think some of them family. I'm not too sure how it all works, but I know they all get looked after, and I don't know what's happened to the woman next door, but two, I haven't seen her or visitors. She may be in hospital because I haven't seen any kind of funeral stuff, or usually put something on the gate if someone's died to signal, so people who are calling round who may not have seen them for a while, they know. I think that's why they do it a lot of the time, because just to kind of warn people, because a lot of things here are word of mouth, as people may just come round and haven't even got a phone number or whatever, and they don't know the person's died. I've been to a few places with our road trip manager when he was alive. He's now passed away, and that was the case. He didn't know they were alive or dead. He didn't know. Anyway, until we got there. Anyway, so that's one thing, living on, and then you'd have to have level access onto the street, probably, and you could easily do that, And if you can get about on a mobility scooter or whatever, which is probably what I'll end up doing in the end, if I'm still around, because I'm not going anywhere. This is it. Well, I'm not going back to the UK ever, never, ever. Anyway, can you live on the pension here? Absolutely. Comfortable. Absolutely. And if there's two here, two pensioners, like King and Queen, if you're both on a British pension, this is the place. And all over the Balkans. And you can get to places where it's a little bit warmer as well. Like certain parts of North Macedonia, maybe Albania, southern Albania, but it's a bit like, for pensioners, I would say, Bulgaria is good. Because there's a lot of old people here. And so if you were going to retire here, you could get onto straight away when you come over, get onto the National Health, get yourself into a dentist. There's another one opened up now. I'm going to try it. Our dentist is he's like pretty. He was okay, but he's a bit bad-tempered. He's a bit like and he obviously doesn't like what he's doing. That's deadly obvious, painfully obvious. So I don't think I was going to stick with him, but like, I don't think I will, because you're paying money for a service, so he should be at least civil, And he was a bit like, and he didn't really. If you didn't understand something, and he knew you didn't understand, and he wouldn't bother trying to communicate or anything. And I mean, that's not his problem. That's my problem. But they should say well, we can't speak English, so we don't want you. That's. I could understand what was going on there, and the girl on the reception, we understood each other perfectly. But he was talking in technical things and about teeth, which Anyway, and here it seems to be a thing here that they ask you what you do, what they're gonna do. They ask you. You've got to tell them. I had to tell him I want these teeth out. Oh, anyway. And I said to the girl on the desk, I said, don't the dentist tell you? I said, I want you to tell me what I need to be done. Oh, right. Anyway, she was good. And she was also the dental hygienist who cleaned all teeth, and she did a great job. Fantastic. Anyway, so it's not all, it wasn't all bad, but the dentist, and I did notice actually there was the queues for each dentist. There wasn't many going. There was a young girl. She was a dentist, and everyone was going there. And there was another bloke, and no one was going in there. Nobody. And he was like, all he did is smoke in the doorway. This other dentist, and then my dentist. There was a few that went there, and I was one of them. But the main bulk of the people were going to the younger girl. And she was like friendly with the people going in and that, and they it was like, you know, bit more light-hearted atmosphere. But my bloke, it was a bit like I call them Soviet people. He's a bit miserable, and he was obviously he didn't want to be there, absolutely. He had all these people coming round. He used to talk to them out the window. These like sort of like wide boy type people. I think he thought of himself as a bit of a wide boy. And he had all these car spares and parts outside the dentist. I think they all belonged to him. I don't know. I have no idea. But he was always looking at the cars and that on it while he was waiting for the anaesthetic to kick in. And but he was competent. But like I was, you know, I'm gonna probably need the next round. I probably need an implant or two, or something. Who knows? I'm not gonna get the turkey teeth. Don't do that. Don't do that. Anyway, going back to this pensioner thing. So I've been watching these pensioners, and like I described on the last video or the one before. You see these pensioners in the UK, and the stuff they've got on. No wonder they're cold. There's this one woman, she got this paper-thin dress on. A dress in the house, and paper-thin, and she's got this blanket round her. But it doesn't, the blanket's all open, it doesn't... I was thinking, how's that going to keep you warm? Get some decent gear on, you know. I could dress it up and she wouldn't be cold. I could get her some gear. But there was another woman, she had like a onesie thing on. She was cold, she was warm. Anyway. But that's how and they're sitting in these houses. And obviously they've got like stairs and landing. And it's a huge area that you've got to eat. You couldn't do it here. You just couldn't do it. That's why people all go to one room. That's why I'm not worried. I'm just morbidly interested in like the British people coming out here and they don't know what they're heading into. And I don't fear for them because they'll just clear off. And I could give them some advice there as well, which I would. Just go to Sicily. That's the best place you can go from here. The nearest, bestest, cheapest place you can go, because you can get an apartment there for about €400 a month for the winter. For the winter, 3 months or whatever. And some of them might want to do that anyway, because they're just not like they're not going to hack it. Let's face it, you know. And rather than go back to England skint, you'd be better off. And even if you're going to retire here, you could do that. You could do a two-centre, either Sicily or Malta. Malta have retirement places or winter rents, like on the other island, Gozo. And it's quite cheap. I had a look at them years ago. And maybe the southern tip of Greece. It wouldn't be too bad there. But that I don't think it'd be that cheap. I don't think Greece is that cheap, really. Sicily's the place. Absolutely. That's nice in the winter. And I might do that if it gets but I'm not. I always think about these things, but like I never do them because I'm okay with the winter. Simple as. Doesn't bother. I like it. I like it. It might be a bit like you know, contrarian, but like I suppose living in Bulgaria is in the first place. Anyway, so the money side of it, I live now on around about 6,000, 5,500, 6,000 euro a year. And most pensioners, if they've got a house to sell, that's set them up here. They could come and get a house here. Small house, one level. And like, I mean, I could easily live on one level. I mean, and it could become a problem in the future, having 2 stories here. Not a problem, but it's may deteriorate, and it's a lot of stuff, and your roof's higher up. Not that I'm ever going to go on the roof, but you know what I mean. It's like it becomes too big. Well, it's too big now for me. You could have another full apartment on above, and it's bigger upstairs because I've got the tunnel here, which it's a big space, but you could turn into living space. But I wouldn't be able to get stuff into the backyard, which is why I wanted to swap a bit of land with the neighbour. And that might happen now. Looking at the house footprint, that if he wants any kind of a garden, I might say to him one day. Just not. We wouldn't do it on official, through the cadastral, because it's a long process and it could probably be costly as well. That may have what would have been put him off in the first place. But we could just say, you can use that land over there, and I just need access. That's all I need, access into the back, down the side of the house. I wouldn't even have to really have the parking. But if I could get access into the back, occasional access, because he can't do anything else within 3 meters. Anyway, let's get back to the... So could you retire here, and what problems would you have with would you have problems with... you'd have to choose the place carefully. And I would tend to say go somewhere which is in like a village centre, with a good shop, and then that's half the battle. And there's one down here, and the doctors is round the corner, so you've got everything, and the post office. Not that you'd need that, because they don't deliver post in Bulgaria. Post office is a waste of time, because they don't. It's non-functional. It doesn't function as it should function. They don't deliver letters or packages. And if there's a package in the other house, if there was a package, they wouldn't tell you it was there. You'd have to know. But if someone sent you like a surprise package and you didn't know it was there, you'd never get it. It happened to me 3 times. Someone said, "Well, did you get that thing I sent you? You haven't mentioned it, I said, "No." They won't tell you in the post office. They used to. And this postmaster down there, I think she does. But the other woman, I went in and said, "I'm expecting..." "Oh, I remember the name, yeah," and sent it back. I said, "Where did you send it to? Where does it go?" She said, "I don't know." And that was it. Waste of time. Absolutely. The post office. Forget about it. Bulgaria. It's the worst thing they've got. Yet the couriers are the best. Absolutely fantastic. Econt, fantastic. I know there was a thing on one of these channels with the Brits, and they're waiting for this stuff from Econt to get delivered to the door, and that's not really advisable, door to door. Just get it sent to the office in town, and it'll be there. They're not that great at door to door. That's not how they're set up, really. And that kind of thing, you know. But just get it sent to the office, and it'll be there next day, every time. In fact, their gear was probably sat in the office in town, waiting for a local to be available or whatever. So, you know, I don't know. But then it's not really... that's not really the way to use it. Just get it, everything sent. They do offer door to door where you buy online, but I always say just send it to the office. I'll go and get it. And you get a text. It's there every time. Never failed. Anyway, so could you retire here? We're getting sidetracked. Well, I do. Could you retire here? Is it practical? And the answer is absolutely. All you'd have to be set up for is the winter. And if you were frail or anything like that, you could get home help just for the winter and get someone to clear your snow and all that. Or you know, even the woman in the Soviet shop down the road, she'll deliver stuff to old people. When the professor was bad over the road and he was poorly, she used to bring stuff. And they have Meals on Wheels. And if you let them know through somebody and even pay a donation or whatever, they'll bring you stuff and they leave it. If you put it on, they put it on the windowsill and knock on the window. And then you can go and get it at your leisure then. Just open the window or whatever. If you give them somewhere to put the food, because they don't want to hang about because they've got to get round. They want to dump the stuff and they don't want to be waiting for an old person who probably can't hear them. So they'll just put it by wherever the drop-off point is, on the windowsill or something, or give it a knock or whatever. But they know, the pensioners know where it's going to be and what time. They can't be hanging about waiting for pensioners to open the door because they'll never get round. Meals on Wheels. And I don't know who runs it or anything like that, but like these things all exist, and you can get virtually everything delivered to you, you know, through people shopping and that. They'll do it, and people go shopping for you. You know, we used to do that for our granny back in the UK. Go shopping, errands. They used to go for errands. We used to go to the bakers and all that. Because I used to live with my granny. In the summers, they used to cart me off because they thought I was the troublemaker in the house. It turns out that I wasn't. Because there was chaos. Anyway, and I had a quiet summer. Every summer with me granny and my uncle. He used to live there. And he used to take us all over the place, collecting wood in the forest. Well, the woods didn't have a forest. It was just woodland. Yeah. We used to do all sorts. It was great. And I was, you know, and we had a lovely quiet time. And they had a real fire, my granny. That's when I got into the eider downs. They had a down, eider down, a duvet, the old type duvet wasn't called a duvet then, it was called an eiderdown. Because it was eider, and it was heavy, and that's where I used to sleep like a log. It was great. But we never had heating in the bedroom. Well, I used to sleep in the front room. It was fantastic. I count the days to get out of our house. Our house was a madhouse. Madhouse. 4 kids and 2 screaming parents. Or 1. Anyway, and when I went back, it was like I had to readjust to the chaos. And but I was kind of still blamed for like a lot of what went on. Anyway, but because there's various people, even in families that you don't get on with, and even parents and kids don't get on sometimes. Well, often. So yeah, you could easily do it, but you'd have to set yourself up while you're still able-bodied, and maybe downsize before you get there, if you know what I mean. Like in your early 60s. This is what I've done. This is exactly what I've done. I downsized when I was 50, 58, 57, sold everything, maybe 55. And then I went living in caravans then, in the UK. And I was setting everything up here. So you can do that. You can that's, plan for your retirement. And if you've even got the money then, because if you downsize, you'll have some money. Buy a house outright, and you can get it ready. Get it ready for your retirement. Absolutely. And I think they have little communities here now. They're starting to get the retirement. I know where there is a retirement home. I don't know how much it costs or anything like that. But that's another option. Or you could do something maybe with your children. Say, look, if you get a holiday home, I'll go and retire, and you can go on holiday there or wherever. I mean, but it's if you get in the right place and you get on like somewhere where it's accessible. You don't want any land, really. Maybe a little garden. It depends how able-bodied you are and how you see things. I mean, I'm just right now with the land. I mean, I don't want it now. I don't. All I need is herbs. And you can grow a lot of herbs in a very small space, Don't all that you need. I'm still building it up now. I'm trying to build a perennial herb garden. And some of the plants are doing great, And most of them. Some of them I can't get going. Maybe it's the climate. Anyway. So there's the answer. Could you retire here? Well, if you plan ahead, definitely. Or if you're loaded, you could easily get somewhere ready to move in, and everything sorted. That's all you need. You need one level, and everything going off either leading off the one space, this is what I've got here, or everything in the one space. And a lot of people sleep and live in the same room, which is what I do at the moment. Well, all the time. And I have got a bedroom, but I made a bed here for the winter to be near the wood burner, because it gets brutal here. And But I've just stuck with it. I'll just stay here, even in the summer, because it's actually cooler here on the ground floor than it is upstairs in the summer. So it works both in the winter and the summer. That's why I never go upstairs. Anyway, so, and could I see myself even slightly, invalid, slightly, bad on your feet or whatever, being able to live here? And the answer is absolutely. Absolutely. You might need in the, depends on how long you last. I mean, you don't want to be hanging about too long around here, too old. Because it becomes miserable, if you can't get around in it. But like, I could have a place here, and I could have a garage with inside the house, and just drive out out of the back cave, like Batman and Robin, on the scooter. It's set up exactly for that here. From the double doors, they could just swing open. I'd probably put a roller shutter door on there eventually. But could you retire here? Absolutely. And is it affordable? Absolutely. On an English pension, just the pension. I don't envisage having to dip into my investments at all. Even running a car, everything. Okay, because it'll be, by then it'll be about 14 grand English, which is about 17,000 euros. Absolutely. Live like a king. Okay, cheers.